Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Sam. Today I wanted to go over characters. Some of the first characters that I ever made, as well as some of the aspects that I like in characters of, some movies and books that I've read, and how you can create your own characters. As writers, we kind of start in different parts of our story. Some of us might see a scene or something in a dream or think of one and come up with it and just kind of go with it. Others start with a character and they create a scene or a world around them. Others start with a world and create characters for them in a story. Now we can start a story and different writers do different things. Me as a writer, I tend to create some characters or a scene that I like and I build from there. Some of the first characters that I ever created were back in 4th, 5th, 6th grade. A lot of the short stories that I wrote back then didn't really have names to the characters. They were kind of a first person narrative, or a narrator was speaking and watching things as they progressed. Actually, a lot of my short stories were nature based. Is this character going through and seeing birds and animals and seeing horses play in fields and things like that. So some of the very first characters that I remember, one was Andy for short. He's actually a vampire and he's pretty ageless. Very, very old. He's been in this world for a very long time. So with him, he's pretty much ageless. He has been around since, if you want to do Christian timeline, before Jesus was born. He's actually the main character in my epic. It's going to be 9 books long, according to what I have plotted out and what I've planned out. Anyway, he was my first character that I remember creating. Another character that I created, her name is Christine. She actually came about because of a Nora Roberts book. The name of it was Montana Sky. I really liked Willa in that book because she was spunky, she was a go-getter. She just wanted to get things done, but she still had a really big heart. She cared for her family, she cared for the animals on her ranch, and that was kind of what I wanted to be. When I was growing up, I wanted to own a ranch. I wanted to be, a big-hearted cowgirl, I guess. I created Christine as kind of like a fan fiction, and actually the next 2 characters I remember creating were kind of a fan fiction off of this book, Montana Sky. So Christine, Catherine, I think it was Scott and Cody were the names that I created for this fan fiction piece. And yeah, I had a lot of fun with those characters. A lot of the other characters that I created were just basically daydreaming. I didn't really write them down. I daydreamed a lot. I would read a book and I would start seeing the scene in my head of, what would happen if this character jumped in, like in The Hobbit, for instance. What if there was a female dwarf with them? How how would that have changed the story? What would have happened if, say, a goblin joined their party or something? It's just weird little things like that. I would write a fan fiction in my head. And those were a lot of the characters that I created early on. I kind of think that most writers start out as fanfickers. I obviously did. Thankfully, I didn't write a lot of them down because it would probably be horrendous to read now. The character traits that I usually fall in love with are pretty much spunky. I like spunky characters. I like characters that are witty. They're a little remarkable in the witty aspect. They want to get things done. They're proactive. And I just really like those types of characters. For example, Alexia Terabati from Soulless by Gail Carringer. She's a witty character. She can take care of herself. She's feisty. She's a character that I can fall in love with and want to keep reading. Another one is like Jo in Little Women. You know, she's witty, she's proactive, she goes after her dreams. She doesn't want to settle. And while she has a huge heart and she doesn't want to hurt anybody, she knows what she wants and she still goes after it, even though it would be more comfortable for her to just give in. And I like that about her, that she just went ahead and followed her dream. That is one of the main key factors in me falling in love with a character and wanting to follow them throughout the book, is that they're a go-getter and they'll stop at nothing to get what they need, what they want. Another character I like is kind of I wouldn't necessarily say wallflower. They're not exactly what they seem. They seem to be meek, kind of weak kind of thing, and then all of a sudden they come forward and they are the strong support system that the main characters need in order to succeed. A lot of characters like these are Iruka from Naruto, if you're an anime fan. I fell in love with Iruka because, yeah, he's the support character that is just gung-ho. He wants to make sure that the kids are safe. He wants to make sure that the kids are knowledgeable and what they need to do, and he fights for them. So how do you create characters? There's a lot of help out there for you to create your own characters. There are developmental sheets. There's other YouTubers out there that can help you create characters. There's all kinds of books, and it can be overwhelming the amount of stuff that is out there to help you create characters. I know when I was doing a little bit of research on creating my own characters for the books that I'm working on now, it was too much. Finally, I just kind of narrowed it down to some YouTuber videos and some things that I found online, all of which I'm going to link down below because they help me, they might help you. But mostly, I create characters with a sheet. A lot of times, those character sheets aren't filled out until I'm halfway through the book. Because, like I said, I'm kind of a plantser, so not everything is figured out at the fullest detail when I start writing. There are some things that just haven't clicked yet. Allow yourself a little bit of leeway with these sheets. You know, there can be questions on there up to 120, or there's 50, or you have to write paragraphs. Give yourself a little bit of leeway. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to fill everything out into such detail that by the time you get to writing, you're going to hate the character because you've spent so much time with them. Just keep in mind that you do you, and it's okay. Yeah, I start out with character sheets. I fill out the basis. You know, I think of it as kind of starting a game with a character, you know, where you can create your own character like D&D or some kind of RPG game. You start with the basic physical attributes. You know, is it male or female, or is it goblin or orc or human or elf? Start with the basics and just grow from there. And it also depends on your writing style too. Some writers like to give very vague descriptions of their characters so that the reader can kind of self-insert into the book as they're reading. If that's you, that's awesome. You don't have to fill out the physical description if you don't want to. But if you have to have that mind's eye, or if you have some description in your book and you don't want to get it wrong, 150 pages in, hair turns from brown to black or something like that, you know, you just want to kind of keep it straight. So go ahead and write it down. Also, in order to create a character, like if you just don't know where to start, look at some of your competition, so to speak. If you're writing a crime novel and you've got a dirty cop as one of the main characters, you know, look at all the dirty cops in all the crime novels and the like Criminal Minds and Blue Bloods and all those shows on TV. What are the stereotypical attributes of a dirty cop? Take that and put your own spin on it. A dirty cop doesn't have to always have a beer belly or is ripped with tattoos or greasy looking, you know. Let a dirty cop be the little, like Zootopia. Let it be the mayor's secretary. Make a dirty cop that is the old lady secretary of the precinct. You know, she used to be on an active beat and now she has a desk job. Or take a thief or a rogue, like you automatically picture people like Flynn Rider. Turn that on its head. Look at The Book Thief. It's an awesome book. It's also, I think, a pretty good movie. Haven't seen the movie yet, but it's a little girl stealing books. So just make it your own. And yes, you can have all kinds of tropes. Go with it. Run with it. Do what's comfortable to you. Do what you like, because you're going to be the one that's stuck writing this character. You can always change some things back and forth whenever you're editing to make it more exciting or realistic, whichever route that you need to go. Also, if you're one of those writers who kind of starts with a scene that you want to play out, like a meet cute, if you're writing romance, you know that you're going to have 2 people or 3 people and just build out from there. What do you want those to be? If you're writing a fantasy, what race do you want each of them to be? Is it going to be like a forbidden love like Romeo and Juliet between an elf and a dwarf, or whatever race that you have created for your books? Start with your scene. What does your scene need? And create the characters for the scene, and then you can build on top of those characters, add more detail. You can build on top of that scene that you first came up with and build a world around it. A scene that you came up with that got you excited about writing it is the basis of your story. Another way that you can create characters is do a couple of character studies. Pull some of your favorite books that you know you had a character that you loved in it. What made you love them? What made you want to keep reading about them? Write it down and see the trend that you have, because when you enjoy a character and you want to keep following them, if you create a character like that you fall in love with, you're going to enjoy writing your book and it'll actually get done. Take the book that I'm writing currently, for instance. I didn't really start with any characters. I started with an idea, and it was just a random idea. It was the idea of taking the hero's journey and kind of twisting it a little bit to where the chosen one isn't the chosen one, and the quests aren't really quests as in they will save the world or they will promote the hero to a god status or anything like that. They're just there. There's something behind it. There's something pushing it that I'm trying not to give it away. I wanted to create a different hero's journey. I wanted to create a different adventure, and the character came later. Nadasha came later because I needed a character to fit into this scenario that I could use. And what better way than to make a character that's supposed to be this strong, awesome hero, and she has social anxiety. She has a great amount of homesickness. She is so focused on her family that the world doesn't really matter. The world isn't really there. You know, it's just the area that her family is in, and that's it until this thing happens and she's thrust out into the world, thrust into being the hero, and then she finds all this twisty mess and she has to clean it up because that's who she is. She can't leave anything undone. If she sees something wrong, she has to do it, and that's how she's the hero. Another thing to think about with your characters too is they have to have a need. They have to have a want in order to make it through your book. Thank you for watching. I hope you got a little bit of information out of this. Check out the links below. I'm going to have some character development sheets and some tools and tricks that I've used throughout my character developments listed down below in the description. Thank you, and I hope to see you in the next video.